In today's video, I'm gonna teach you what you must do to get that snatched, sexy, fit hourglass body you've been dreaming of. The small waist, poppin' booty, defined abs, arms, and legs that you've been trying so hard to get, eating healthy, going to the gym, and yet for whatever reason, nothing you do seems to be working. It is because you are missing this one very crucial piece that I'm gonna break down in this video so you can fix it and get the results you want. What's going on, Fit Fam? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan Janice. I'm an online nutrition and fitness coach for women, and I teach you ladies how to eat way more food without any restrictions and work out smarter instead of harder so you can build that sexy, feminine hourglass body that you feel amazing in and can maintain year-round for life with ease. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Come follow me over on Instagram for even more fitness content. And if you're coming on back, thanks so much for joining for another video. All right, fam, I think the best way to start off this video is to share my story because I have been a fitness coach for many, many years now. And although I had made some progress in my early days, because when I was about 23 years old, this was the first time in my life I was actively really starting to gain obvious weight. And I felt really unconfident, really unhappy in my body. But this is back before I ever had any kind of fitness routine at all. In fact, I thought I didn't even like working out, but I knew, okay, this is just gonna get worse if I don't do something to change it. So I got into the whole weightlifting world. I discovered the gym, getting strong, lifting weights, and I also discovered macros, eating according to protein, fats, and carbs so that you can build muscle and lose body fat. And so I did end up dropping about 20 pounds, maybe even as much as 30, and I got much leaner and I started to get somewhat toned and defined. But then here's what happened. Although I had pretty decent abs, I had a slightly toned upper body, I was always really frustrated that although I was skinny, so I was obviously looking better than I had previously, I really didn't have that much definition, that much shape, especially not in my legs and glutes, which is where I really wanted it. Because I was going to the gym, lifting heavy weights 5 times a week, hitting lower body 3 times a week, doing my heavy hip thrusts, deadlifts, squats, all of that stuff. And then I was also hitting my macros, eating 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein. And yet for all that effort, my body really kind of just looked the same for about 6 years doing this. I was kind of skinny and at times a little bit maybe skinny fat, but I never was super snatched, super sculpted and defined the way that I wanted to be. Until everything changed when I finally said enough is enough. I clearly need to hire somebody who knows how to get me there. I got my own online one-to-one coach, and in just 1 year, I completely transformed my body and finally got the physique of my dreams. Not only did I actually maintain my abs, and in fact, in a lot of ways, make them look even better, get an even smaller waist, get an even more defined upper body, but I finally got the much bigger, more perky, round bubble butt that I had always wanted, and I got the sexy, defined, shapely legs. Here you can see me before and after, and the crazy part is I weigh exactly the same in both. So it's not that I lost a bunch of weight or gained a bunch of weight, I actually just went through body recomposition, literally where you are changing the source of the weight in your body, because what happened was, of course, I gained a lot more muscle and then decrease my overall body fat. So what was the key thing that took me from being sort of okay fit, especially on my upper body, but not really having a great lower body, to actually having the sculpted, snatched hourglass body of my dreams? It was doing a calorie surplus, doing a muscle build phase. Now, this is the big mistake I see literally almost every single woman making. And I get it because it was the same with me. I thought that so long as you just do calorie deficits, as long as you're just cutting, getting the body fat off, and then in addition that you're lifting the weights, you're getting strong, you're being consistent in the gym, you're tracking your macros, you're eating 1 gram per pound of body weight and protein, then that alone is going to get you this great physique. And yes, doing that alone can definitely get you along the way to your results. A lot of the time, maybe you're gonna get some ab definition, your arms are gonna be sort of toned, but you're gonna be really frustrated with your lower body. You are not going to have the really sculpted, really defined legs and glutes that you want to have while still also having the sexy abs and upper body. And the reason why is because the muscles on your upper body, everything waist up, are a lot smaller. So when muscles are smaller, they don't necessarily take as much to be stimulated and be overloaded and therefore grow. Versus your lower body muscles, your glutes and legs are the biggest muscles in your entire body. So this means if you want to grow some big muscles, you need to give those muscles a reason to grow. And the way that you do that is, number one, you do need to know how to train properly. So yes, lifting weights, really challenging your muscles with a stimulus and resistance, making sure you're pushing hard in the gym, but not overdoing it either. Really, the sweet spot, I think, is lifting 4 days a week. You can do as much as 5 if you feel like you can recover from it, if you don't feel too beat up. But honestly, I used to do 5 days a week, and when I went down to just 4 days a week, that's when I got the best results in my life. This allows you to have enough space to hit both upper body and lower body, really go in, push your muscles to the absolute max, but then have lots of time to recover outside so that you're not ending up doing just a bunch of junk volume, which is again what I see a lot of women doing, right? They're lifting weights 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, with no breaks in between, and they've been doing this for like 10 years and they still are just kind of skinny fat. Well, this is because you're not really training smartly. You're just exercising a lot, but you're not doing it smarter instead of harder. So that's definitely half of the equation, but the really big second half is that you need to eat enough for your body to have the resources it requires to build that muscle. This means you need to spend time eating above your maintenance. You need to be in a moderate calorie surplus. And this means that yes, you have to spend time actually seeing the scale go up. And I know that that freaks so many women out, but it's also for that exact reason that they never get the results they want, right? This obsession with, oh my God, I cannot gain weight. Okay, well, would you rather not gain weight, but stay kind of mushy, flabby, and skinny fat? Or would you rather weigh a couple pounds more, but look so much more firm, tight, and snatched with all the shape and definition? Obviously, I'm guessing that you would prefer the second option, and that's where you need to be okay with the fact that you will gain a little bit of weight, but it is ultimately going to make you look way better. Now, this is literally my exact specialty. This is my favorite thing to coach women on because I went through the transformation myself and I know the exact mindset that these women are in because I used to be in it too. I used to be afraid of ever going above even 2,000 calories a day versus now 2,000 calories a day I lose weight on. I'm in a cut right now and I'm easily dropping weight eating that much food. So I'm just gonna fly through a few quick examples of women that I have personally coached to get this exact result. This is my client Kaylin, who definitely was just kind of flabby, mushy, and skinny fat when she came to me, even though she was working out 6 days a week. But guess what? She was only eating about 1,400 calories a day and only 100 grams of carbs, which is like literally nothing. I ended up taking her all the way up to 2,800 calories a day, literally doubling her calories, and we almost quadrupled her carb intake. And we went from 6 days a week to just 4 days a week. And then after this phase, doing this muscle build phase, that is when we went and did a fat loss phase. And then that is when we were able to trim down the fluff and reveal all the sexy muscle definition underneath and have a whole new physique. Here's another of my clients, Bethany, who is the same thing. She was working out all the time, several days per week, but she was just kind of doing random dumbbell workouts at home and then eating about maybe 1,500 calories a day. So what I did was I got her in the gym, lifting smarter instead of harder, just 4 days a week, and eating up to 2,200 calories. And then from there, just doing a small amount of cutting at the absolute lowest at 1,800 before once again bringing her up to 2,300 calories a day to have this complete insane physique transformation. And also she's an example of somebody who actually gained weight in between these photos. She weighs 7 pounds more now, even though she obviously looks way leaner, way more toned, way more snatched. So that's a good example of not necessarily being afraid of weight gain. Sometimes it can make you look way better if you're starting off skinny and or skinny fat. Okay, fam, so the secret to getting that really sexy, shapely, snatched body is going to be that you build a lot of muscle. And in order for you to build a lot of muscle, you need to spend time in a muscle building phase, meaning you're actually in a calorie surplus. Now, the way that this works is the ultimate physique that you want really is a muscular body, but it's also a lean body. So you need to do a combination both of gaining muscle and keeping your body fat levels relatively low. Now, you can do both of these at the same time to a degree, where essentially just at maintenance, or you're reverse dieting, where you're increasing your maintenance level by gradually bringing up your food bit by bit. But the thing is, there's only so much one way or the other that you can achieve in terms of muscle gain or fat loss without going a little bit harder into one or the other. So if you are somebody who is kind of skinny right now or a little bit skinny fat, I'm gonna explain what I want you to do. But I also just wanna say, if you're somebody who who has weight to lose, then yes, you can absolutely do this strategy of the muscle build phase once you get lean enough. But that is the contingency, of course, because you need to have the room to be able to put on some weight. So if you have a good bit of weight you need to lose right now, then you're going to need to first do the opposite strategy, which is going to be doing a reverse diet to get your body ready to then go into a fat loss phase, into a calorie deficit. So I have a whole other video that talks about how to lose weight for good while eating a high calorie diet, which is exactly this method. So you can go check that out here if you're somebody who needs to lose weight. But now let's say you've lost the weight and you've gotten, fairly lean, fairly skinny, or you're just coming into this world already being pretty skinny. Here is what you're going to do a muscle build phase and actually put some shape on your body. Okay, it is super important that you're actually tracking the metrics of what you do. Yes, you can try to go about this more intuitively, but the problem is if you take that approach, you're very likely to not make as much progress and kind of just to be spinning your wheels. You're putting in the effort, but you don't actually know what's working and what isn't. So it's so much better to actually have data to be tracking the progress of what you do. And by the way, this is what I do as a one-to-one online fitness coach for women. Is inside of my program, I'm going to give you a custom strategy where we're going to have all of the data, and then I'm going to be making decisions on how your body's responding to what we're doing, and then making the adjustments to your plan every single week as needed, so that over time you're going to put on lots of muscle and decrease your body fat. So if you don't want to have to figure this out on your own, if you just want to have your hand held through the process, be guided through exactly step by step how to do everything and have the support and accountability to actually do it, then come click on the link in the description, fill out an application for coaching. We'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit. Okay, so the metrics to be tracking is number one, you must be tracking your macros. You need to do this. You need to be actually tracking your food using a kitchen scale, tracking things to the gram inside of an app like MyFitnessPal. The first thing you want to do is find what your starting macros should be. Essentially, you're going to find more or less what your maintenance is right now. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but the last video I just posted breaks this down step by step, so you can go watch that here if you don't know what your starting macros should be. And when you're in a muscle build phase, you want to be hitting them at least 5 days a week within 5 grams plus or minus, meaning that you have 2 days where you still get to enjoy a free meal or a cheat meal. So this is what I love about macros and this overall approach to getting fit, because it's actually sustainable, it's actually realistic, nothing is off limit. It's just about obviously understanding what are the things you need to do to see the results you want, but then also how can you still balance your life, how can you still have fun and be social and still get the results you want. Okay, the second thing is you need to be tracking your workouts. Do not just go to the gym and do something different every single time and not be recording what you're doing. That is a really quick way to get absolutely nowhere and build zero muscle. If you want to build a lot of muscle, you need to be following the same workout plan for several weeks at a time. I really recommend at least 8 weeks, because what you need to be doing is you need to be keeping track of the lifts you're doing, how much weight you were able to do, the reps you were able to do for every single set, and you want to be improving and pushing yourself beyond what you were able to do last time every single week. This is called progressive overload. You've probably heard of it, but it's what you need to be doing to be giving your muscles a reason to grow over time. You need to give them new levels of stimulus, new levels of tension, so that they have a reason to grow. And I'll also say one of the great things about being in a muscle building phase, eating in a calorie surplus, is that you are able to go so much harder in the gym, which is actually really fun because you have a surplus of energy. You have tons of calories to be working with, so you can go really hard, really put that food to use, and make sure that you train hard so you can build lots of great muscle. Okay, so keeping track of your macros, keeping track of your workouts, that's the stuff that you're actually doing, your actual protocols, your training and nutrition plan that you need to be keeping track of. Now, the other things to be keeping track of, your actual body and how your body's responding to your plan and to your protocols. So number one, you want to be taking progress photos every single week, because of course we need to see what does your body actually look like, right? For example, I weigh the exact same in both of these photos, but I look completely different. So we need to see what your body actually looks like, how it's progressing every single week over time. So please do not skip this step, because what you weigh on the scale really doesn't matter without seeing how you look. What does that number on the scale actually mean in terms of your body composition? Okay, and then the last thing, and this is so important, is to be tracking your weight daily. Every single morning, before eating or drinking anything, after using the bathroom, naked, weigh yourself, and then keep track of it in a graph, because Again, the weight in and of itself does not matter. An individual weigh-in means nothing. It is the trend of the data that matters. We want to see what is happening over time because, again, your goal right now is to be in a muscle building phase. So that means we actually want to see the scale going up. And the rate of weight gain to be looking for as a woman should be about 1 to 2 pounds per month. You don't want it to be more than this because if you're gaining weight faster than that, you're in too much of a surplus and then you're just gaining too much body fat, which we don't want to have happen. We want to be staying lean as possible while adding shape, while adding size in all of the right places, getting that sexy snatched hourglass body. So the thing is, if you are not weighing yourself daily, you cannot pay attention to the trend and you don't know what's actually happening, right? There's a lot of women I speak with who say, oh my gosh, I'm eating so much, I'm training hard, and I don't really see any difference. And I'm like, are you actually tracking your weight, right? Just because you think you're eating a lot of food, if it's not enough for you to be gaining weight, that means you need to eat more, right? You don't get to decide in your mind what is a lot of food or not. Your body is going to tell you that, hey, this is a surplus, we are actually gaining weight, versus hey, no, we're actually maybe losing weight or we're at least just maintaining weight. It is not enough food. We need more to actually grow. All right, then the next question is, how much time should you actually spend building? You want to do this phase for at least 6 months because you just need time, right? Like you're not going to be able to build a huge amount of muscle in just a couple of months. I will say you can start to see results pretty quickly if you're really training properly, if you're really giving it your all and then recovering well. And of course, if you're being adherent to your macros and then you're actually in the surplus, you can start to see some changes pretty quickly. Within the first 2 to 3 months, you can start to notice side by side, like, wow, I'm really starting to get bigger glutes, or like, I'm starting to see my legs are looking more toned and defined. But really, you should give it a significant amount of time because you're just not going to be able to gain that much muscle if you do it for less than that, right? Because if we're saying 1 to 2 pounds a month, I'd say you would want to gain at least around 10 pounds in your build, maybe close to that, give or take. Because by the time you go into the next phase, which is going to be to trim down any bits of body fat that came with the muscle gain, you want to actually have enough to take off and reveal something underneath. So push your building phase hard, get your calories nice and high, and then what's going to happen is next, you're going to cut. You're going to lose some body fat. So that's the stage I'm in right now. I didn't cut at all in 2024. I literally spent 2024 just building, and I was also traveling and stuff like that. But I spent the entire year just working on putting on more muscle. And now going into 2025, I finally decided to do a cut. So I'm about 10 weeks into my cut, getting leaner, down about 5 pounds, but I'm probably actually going to be picking it up to move things along a little bit faster, because the other way you want to think of your cut after you've been building is you kind of want to just get in and out relatively quickly. You don't want to have to spend so many months, but I will say usually to see enough body fat loss, which is probably going to be around 10 pounds, you're probably going to need to spend at least 4 months, maybe even 5, maybe push it to 6. And again, this is really going to depend on the individual. It's going to depend how you're feeling, what your biofeedback is saying, if you're hungry, if you're exhausted, or if you're feeling really good, right? So again, these are the small details that really make a big difference in your strategy. And this is where having an experienced one-to-one coach to guide you through this process makes such a difference. It's why I have one as well. So again, if you don't want to have to figure this out, you can always just apply to work with me or my team directly in the link in the description. All right, fam. So that is the secret to what you need to do to build your sexy, strong, snatched dream physique. You must spend time doing muscle building phases, being in that moderate calorie surplus and actually gaining some weight, because it's the only way that you are going to actually build any real muscle, especially in your lower body, while still keeping a really sexy snatched upper body as well. So go through the muscle building phase, put on a little bit of weight, and then it's going to be easy to trim down the fluff, lose a little bit of body fat, and reveal this whole new physique underneath that has so much muscle to show that if you had not done the muscle building phase, you wouldn't have, right? You can choose to stay lean, you can choose to just always be cutting, but you're gonna be frustrated that you don't look as sexy and snatched and hourglassy, right? Because it's the muscle building that is going to give you those results, and you're going to really, really especially see it when you can do your cut, trim down a little bit of fluff, and reveal it all underneath. All right, Fit Fam, thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope it was helpful. Now next, I want you to go watch this video here, where I'm gonna walk you through what a current day of eating is like for me and a day in the life while I'm cutting, so you can follow along with my journey and get inspired to do the same. I'll see you in that video.